Why are they suffering so much? Why are they working so hard? What is it that has broken their spirit? Why are they dedicated in their lives? I want to know in and out about these kids. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. Work is scarce in Verona. She knows it. Hello, hi, namaste, and welcome to Vidhyaashram, the Temple of Excellence. I am Nanda Kishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, Mysuru. In my previous session, I was talking about Two Gentlemen of Verona, written by A.J. Cronin. And in today's session, session 2, I will be talking more about Two Gentlemen of Verona, and let us see why author A.J. Cronin has named this chapter Two Gentlemen of Verona. Why Nicola and Jacopo were considered two gentlemen. And in session 1, I already discussed that Nicola and Jacopo were doing lot of jobs, lot of work just to do something beyond their imagination, beyond their reach, beyond anybody's imagination. And A.J. Cronin was somehow convinced and he was connected deeply with these two boys. Let's start with session 2, Two Gentlemen of Verona. Village side. The following afternoon, we drove to the tiny picturesque village. Remember, before this session, I had already told you that Nicola, who was 13 years old, and Jacopo were 12 years old. They were doing a lot of jobs and they decide to go to the city or the village side later, and somehow author will just stand by these two kids' side and he promises that he is going to take both Nicola and Jacopo to Poleta by driving the car himself. The following afternoon, we drove to the tiny picturesque village set high upon the hillside amidst the sheltering chestnut groves with a few pines of upper slopes and deep blue lake beneath. This is just a reference picture. This described all these lines. I imagine that our destinations would be some humble dwelling, but directed by Jacobo's shrill treble, we drew up at a large red-roofed villa surrounded by a high stone wall. I could scarcely believe my eyes, and before I could recover breath, my two passengers, who are these two passengers here? My two passengers had leaped nimbly from the car. Now, A.J. Cronin is driving his car along with Nicola and Jacopo. They are going to Poleta. We don't know why. And he gives the beautiful description about the countryside, the village side. And before he could recall where he was driving and before he could enjoy the ambience or the circumstances or the surroundings of the village side, these two kids had already jumped out of the car and they were running off from the car. A.J. Cronin writes, I could scarcely believe my eyes, and before I could recover breath, my two passengers had leaped nimbly from the car. He says that he was driving towards the village side, but what did he get to see? Apart from that, large red-roofed villa surrounded by high stone wall. We won't be long. This is again the reference picture you can see. So this is how the description gives you the large red-roofed villas, a sort of a villa. We shall not be long, sir. Who says this? Jacopo and Nicola. We shall not be long. Perhaps only an hour. They say, we won't be long, sir. You be here. We don't want you to come along with us. You just be seated where you are. Only an hour. Maybe you would like to go to the cafe in the village for a drink. They are not inviting the author. They are saying, see, the thing is like, we will just rush. We'll go where we want to go and we won't be long, maybe for an hour. One gante wapas parthi. If you are bored sitting in a car, what you have to do? Don't come with us. Don't follow us. Maybe you can go to the village cafe, a cafeteria for a drink. Would you care for a drink? they disappeared beyond the corner of the wall. Just imagine there is a street here, okay? Just somewhere the car is parked here. They jumped out of the car and they disappeared beyond the corner of the wall. When a few minutes had elapsed, I followed. Now author cannot resist. I found a grill side entrance and determinedly rang the bell. Now author is just following there. He goes, Ellodru maklu ivaru ibro. Why are they running so fast? Why were they in hurry? Now author is very curious. So somehow he decides, okay, I made up my mind. I'm going to go and see where the boys went. What followed next? A pleasant looking woman with a ruddy complexion and steel-rimmed spectacles appeared. So he goes and rings the bell. Who opens the door? A pleasant looking woman with ruddy complexion and steel-rimmed spectacles appeared. I blinked as I saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. Who is this woman here? She's a trained nurse. He's like, okay, where am I? Remember, the boys got out of the car. They told the author ge heltare, sir, now jasti hotte eno kaisala nimna. We will make you just wait for an hour. If you're feeling bored sitting in a car, maybe you can go and have a cup of coffee or a tea. Author could not resist. So what he does, avanu kuda hildu ade dariyalli follow markondu hogtane. So what will he find there? He gets to see a building. So he rings the bell. Who opens the door? A woman, a pleasant looking woman, steel rimmed spectacles, and she is dressed in white uniform of a trained nurse. Now author is a bit confused. I just bought two small boys here. I just brought two small boys. And I brought them here. Did you see them by chance? Ah, yes. Now the nurse says, okay. Her face lit up. She opened the door to admit me. Nicola and Jacopo, I will take you up. Nicola mate Jacopo alva. Come, let us go up. Villa turned hospital. Remember, in the previous slide, I told you that large red-roofed villa. It is not villa anymore. The villa has turned to be hospital now. She led me through a cool, tiled vestibule into the hospital. For hospital, the villa had become. So it is not a villa nor the hospital. It's both. You can take it as a villa or the hospital or the either way. We transferred a waxed and polished corridor between well-equipped wards. So where are they working? This is just a reference. If you just see this picture, it just looks like a hospital. It is a hospital, or you can take it as a villa. So how does it look? For the hospital, the villa had become. We traversed a waxed and polished corridor between well-equipped wards. We went upstairs to a southern balcony which opened to a vista of the gardens and the lake. On the threshold of a little cubicle, the nurse paused, put her fingers to her lips, and with a smile bade me look through the glass partition. She told, there is a threshold. She goes and stands there and she says, shh, don't make any noise. Just stand there. And she told, just look at inside. Just peep inside. The two boys were seated at the beside of a girl about 20. Remember, the girl who is about 20. Who are the two boys? Nicola and Jacopo. Remember this, Nicola is 13, Jacopo is 12. And they have come to the hospital, and it is not the hospital at the first place. It is a villa which is turned to be hospital. Who propped on pillows, wearing a pretty lace jacket, was listening to their chatter, her eyes soft and tender. So who is this? We don't know who she is. 20 years old. She is leaning, propping on the pillow and eyes littered, like she's like very keen. Okay, whatever these two kids are telling, she's keenly listening to them. Despite the faint flush, high upon her cheekbones, and the queer inertness of her postures, one could discern at a glance her resemblance to her brothers. By looking at her, author is writing that she is their sister, Nicola's and Jacopo's sister, and she is the eldest as she is 20 years old. A vase of wildflowers stood on a table beside a dish of fruit and several books. So this is the description which A.J. Cronin is giving for the reader. Now this is how she is leaning on the pillow, and next to that there is some vase or something, imagine it, and she is very keen to listen to her brothers, because these two brothers are trying to convince or trying to reach or trying to keep their sister happy. What do you go in? The nurse murmured. Who is she asking? A.J. Cronin. A.J. Cronin is standing near the door, the threshold, and is observing each and everything that is happening between these three kids. Lucia will be pleased to see you. Who is Lucia? 20-year-old sister, elder sister of Nicola and Jacopo. I shook my head and turned away. No. I don't want to go. I don't want to disturb their union. I felt I could not bear to intrude upon this happy family party. But at the foot of the staircase, I drew up and begged her to tell me all she knew about these boys. So who is begging now? A.J. Cronin, the author, is begging the nurse. I took the nurse away. I want to know. Please tell me everything that you know about these kids. Why are they suffering so much? Why are they working so hard? What is it that has broken their spirit? Why are they dedicated in their lives? I want to know in and out about these kids. So will the nurse tell everything? She was eager to do so. She, the nurse, she explained. Now she starts. She explained. Quite alone in the world except for these sisters. Who are they? Nicola and Jacopo. Except for this sister, Lucia. Their father, a widower. Now she is going for the background, the flashback. Their father, a widower, a well-known singer at La Scala. Widower, no mother, wife is dead. A well-known singer at La Scala, one more question, had been killed in the early part of the war. Mother is already dead and father is also killed in the war. Shortly afterward, a bomb had destroyed their home and thrown the three children into the streets. No mother, no father, no home, no shelter. Where should they go? They were thrown in the streets. They had always known a comfortable and cultured life. Who is telling this? Who is narrating this to whom? The nurse is narrating this to A.J. Cronin, the author. Lucia had herself been training as a singer. She herself was a singer. She was training herself to be a good singer. And they had suffered horribly from near starvation and exposure to the cold Veronese winter. Very cold. They almost killed themselves from hunger. They never had anybody, any hands to feed them. For months, they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. What is this rubble? Remember, they had a home, they had a house, and they were thrown out to the streets. Maybe out of all this rubble, the remainings of the destroyed house or a concrete structure, they had prepared something called shelter, and they kept themselves alive, barely alive. Then the German elite guard established headquarters in Verona, and for 3 dreadful years ruled the city with ruthless severity. Who established? German elite guard. Italy and Germany, 2 opposite countries there. And they established and they started torturing people. The boys grew to hate those harsh, unwanted masters, and when the resistance movement began secretly to form, They were among the first to join resistance against whom? Against German elite guard. They had established headquarters in Verona. Verona is the city of Italy. It is in the city of Italy. It was not a matter of playing war. Playing war for the kids of 12 and 13, war is not suitable. Their extreme youth and insignificant size added to an intimate knowledge of the neighboring hills made them immensely valuable. Immensely valuable. Why is that? Because they were young. Nobody would suspect 12 and 13 years kids. They were used to carry messages. What did they do? They were used as a messenger. They were used to carry messages to the forces of liberation, and more dangerous still, to ferret out information on the movements of German troops. Germans, elite group, they were torturing, they were troubling the people of Verona, in Verona. So they were the messengers, they carried messages to liberation, who fought against German people, and they also carried a lot of information about the movements of German troops. The good nurse broke off. She started crying because kids like Nicolo and Jacopo, 12 and 13, they were risking their lives. Her eyes moist. Then with even deeper feeling, she went on. She's crying, she's sobbing now. I need not tell you how fine they were, these infants, how they went in the darkness through the mountain passes with letters in their shoes which might cause them to be shot. Very risky, risking their lives. For what? To live a luxurious life? No. And when it was all over, we had peace at last. Now she's saying, at last, when all this got over, we had peace at last. They came back to their beloved sister and they found her suffering from tuberculosis of spine. 1 mark question. What was Lucia suffering from? She was suffering from tuberculosis of spine. 1 mark question. Be careful. Contracted during the miseries of war. No house, no shelter, no parents, nobody to feed their hungry mouths, and extreme Veronese cold. Apart from that, along with it, German invasion. And they barely kept themselves alive by the rubble or the shelter they created. And she was diagnosed with tuberculosis of spine. She paused, took a quick breath. She pauses. So much. She had to get everything from her belly. It is coming out from the bottom of her heart. She says so much, and after a while, the pause, each and everything, the expression, you need to imagine it. Did they give up? Did they give up after that? Even then? I did not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. Astu chalaittu. They have so much of guts. They are determined. They are dedicated. In the 12 months, she has been our patient. 12 months, remember, 1 year, 1 calendar year, she has been our patient. She has made good progress. Who is saying this? The nurse. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. She gives the promise to AJ Cronin. There is every hope. There is a hope. A person without hope has no life. And nurse says that these 2 kids are dedicated. They are working so much. I told you, author asks these 2 kids, why are they making so much of money? Are they planning to emigrate to States? Remember, they did not answer the question. Though they have this idea in their mind, maybe not today, maybe for now. Now, they have a better plan. They are taking care of their sister who is being diagnosed by tuberculosis of spine, and she is in the hospital. Persuaded whom? The nurse, to admit the sister and to treat her from the tuberculosis of spine for the past 12 months. Of course, everything is so difficult now. Food so scarce, and dear, we could not keep going unless we charged a fee. Now, nurse, what better could the nurse do for a patient? Maybe treat, shower her feelings, shower her love for the patient. But can she afford to pay the bill, hospital bill, the food bill? And she says, of course, everything is so difficult now. She is giving a description about Nicola and Jacopo, why they are struggling so much in their lives. Food so scarce, and dear, my God, we could not keep going unless we charged a fee. We cannot just give or treat Lucia for free of cost. But, she says, but every week, Lucia's brothers have made their payment. Every week. Remember why they hawked newspapers, why they sold fruits, why they took tourists around the city, why they helped author every time? Just to keep up their promise. She added simply, I don't know what they do. Very important. They are working so hard in the city of Verona. Lucia is admitted. Lucia is the elder sister. They have convinced the nurse to get their sister admitted in the hospital. They are paying the bill every week. But a person, the nurse who knows each and everything in and out of these two kids, she doesn't know what they are doing in the city of Verona. But she appreciates that they are able to make the payment on time. I do not ask. Work is scarce in Verona. She knows it. Very less. But whatever it is, I know they do it well. She hopes that these two kids, they are professionally stubborn. They are strong. Whatever profession they get into, they will do it as a masterpiece. Yes, I agreed. Definitely. I give it a double thumbs up. I definitely agree with it. They couldn't do it better. Author says, they couldn't do it better. I waited outside. Now, who is waiting here? Author. I waited outside until the boys rejoined me, then drove them back to the city. They sat beside me, not speaking, in a mood of quiet contentment. For my part, I did not say a word. Author could have asked. Now, just think about it. Author got to know why Nicola and Jacopo are working so much after he listens to the words from the nurse, after AJ Cronin gets to know or got to know about the past life of Nicola and Jacopo and about the hardship of their daily life. He never asked even a word with Nicola and Jacopo. I knew they would prefer to feel that they had safely kept their secret. Do you have that in yourself? Do you think 12 years kid or 13 years kid would just hold on some truth in their belly? Never. We want to puke it out. It is like a butterfly in the belly. It always keeps fluttering. It always keeps flying. It has to come out. But with this line, I can tell you why AJ Cronin named the chapter, named his writing as Two Gentlemen of Verona. Two gentlemen. They are acting beyond their age. Yet this silent epic of youthful devotion had touched me deeply. War, with its attendant horrors, had not broken their spirit. And if an untimely maturity had been forced upon them, at least they had accepted it with dignity and courage. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of a greater hope for human society. A.J. Cronin writes that these two young kids have attained so much maturity far beyond their age, right? Even being at the age of 20 or 30, we people blame for what we don't possess. We are not matured enough. There are a lot of quotes, a lot of lessons which gives more meaning to the life we are living. Only thing we need to do is to open our eyes and accept it. It is left to your part. If you want to accept the life in a better way, look at other problem. There is a proverb which says, an intelligent person is one who goes through every challenge and finds a solution. But a genius is the one who looks at others' problem and creates a solution before he faces it. So it's left to you, be an intelligent person or to be a genius. But here, without much option, I am sure that Nicola and Jacopo will turn out to be a better behaved gentleman and a genius personality in their lives if they ever existed. These two characters are the better example for the young kids like you. I'm sure the characters of Jacopo and Nicola, these two characters have reflected a lot in your lives. I'm sure you enjoyed this chapter, Two Gentlemen of Verona. This will be the last chapter in the first PUC syllabus. I hope you enjoyed it. For better understanding, read the textbook, keep reading. Have a good day. Take care.